Okay, with the arrival of Casey Rogers in Detroit as the new defensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, speculation has been swirling already about the potential roster moves and the names that maybe would follow Casey Rogers. And then another name dropped in the hat, Larry Foote. So the Lions are clearly trying to poach some coaches from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, bringing Carlton Davis in last season, I thought that was such a tremendous move when you looked at, you know, the fact that the Lions are bringing in players that they have gone up against over the last season and, you know, teams that they were going to go up against that season, being in 2024. So are the Lions trying to do the same thing this season? Are they trying to bring in players that have a history going up against the opponents that we're going to see this season? Possibly. And we'll highlight some more of those players in upcoming videos. But for right now, I want to focus on Will Gholston. So former Michigan State University defensive lineman, has had a long tenured career in Tampa. And this is one that, I mean, it kind of makes some sense, right? The Lions are going to definitely need to add some defensive line depth. They are looking for some playmakers. Alim McNeil is going to be, you know, slow to recover, at least right now. It's looking like he won't be back until at least November, possibly December. And at that rate, I mean, if he has any hiccups at all, well, does he make it back in 2025? Now, I'm not doubting Alim McNeil. I think that he can do it, and I think he's going to be back and playing in 2025. I just don't know how soon. So Will Gholston is he's a product of Detroit's Southeastern High School, so he has ties to the area. Decade of NFL experience, primarily with the Buccaneers. And his career highlights include a Super Bowl victory. So again, adding players that have the history and the working knowledge, right, of what it takes to get to a Super Bowl and what it takes to win. Consistent production throughout his career. Now, again, this is not a big flashy guy. He's not going to get you a bunch of sacks. He's not a stat stuffer. What he is consistent. And he brings that valuable blend of size, strength, and savviness to the defensive line. And most importantly, his experience. So could he thrive in Detroit? I guess that's the biggest question. In Casey Rogers' defensive line scheme, it's obviously known for aggressive, multiple front defense. Gholston's versatility obviously is going to help there. His experience playing in various schemes, but most importantly, with Casey Rogers and potentially Larry Foote, if he does join, would make him a very valuable asset. Now, his ability to play both inside and outside could also prove to be exactly what that, you know, Brad Holmes loves, is that versatility from his players. Homecoming appeal, right? Like I mentioned, he's from Detroit's southeastern side and, you know, history with MSU. And for that reason, yeah, returning to his hometown team, I mean, it could provide to be a little extra motivational for him to finish out his playing career in Detroit. So it would be, you know, playing in front of family and friends and reigniting his passion once again, to elevate his performance being in that situation. So veteran leadership obviously is key. The Lions are still a very young team. We have DJ Reader, who's brought a wealth of experience in veteran leadership. Alim McNeil will be entering his fourth season. He is now considered a veteran and will also have plenty of leadership to provide for this team and fostering, you know, this winning culture that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are building once again in 2025 with all the changes that are incoming. Potential challenges. Now, age and injury for Gholston. He's 33. He's entering, obviously, the later stages of his career. You know, he's definitely not in his prime. I want to say he averaged about 18% of snaps last season. So he's definitely a rotational player. While he has remained relatively healthy throughout his career, obviously, injuries as you get older, there's more opportunity for that. It's always a concern with veteran players. Now, competition, the Lions obviously want to bring in some competition. Brad just mentioned it yesterday. They're always going to bring in guys to compete. The Lions have invested heavily in their defensive line in recent years, and Gholston obviously would face competition no matter who they bring in, but it's always going to be a competitive nature in Detroit. Now, what is my verdict with Will Gholston? I think that there's a lot of things to like about his game and the versatility, as well as, you know, the matchmaking here with Casey Rogers and potential Larry Foote edition coming in this weekend or next week. While there are no guarantees, you know, what Gholston is going to be able to do or how he's going to perform, I think the potential benefits of signing Gholston appear to outweigh the risks. And obviously, whatever he's going to be making as far as a contract, obviously, is the kicker here. Now, last season, he was only reported to make about $1.5 million or just under, probably the vet minimum is what I'm guessing. And I think the Lions could probably do something along that line as well, giving him a vet minimum contract. So, look, it's an intriguing option. While the Lions are rebuilding and building a winning defense in 2025 to go along with this potent offense is key, and especially under Casey Rogers' defensive line, it's going to be needed. Furthermore, when we talk about his stats and how he's produced over the last few seasons, well, I'll give you career stats: 432 combined tackles, 20.5 sacks, 1 interception. Just this last season, he was in roughly half the season. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He played in 8 games, had 12 combined tackles, 1 sack. So not a ton of production. Kind of had a year off, but it's similar. It was very similar to what he did in 2023. Very similar season. So he's definitely on the outs of his career. Rotational player, cheap option, 90-man, bring him in. Let's see what he does in the training camp. Maybe he gets an extra fire lit underneath him to want to bring a championship to Detroit. And he has that Super Bowl pedigree. He's won one. So William Gholston to the Detroit Lions, I would say that, I'm 50-50, to be honest with you. But it does make sense. How many players are going to be poached from the coaches that we poach from the teams that we're bringing them in from? Well, we'll find out more as the season wanes on. And free agency, it begins March 10th. And just the 24 hours before that date, that's when teams and players are going to start to negotiate. So it's just around the corner. We're just a couple of months away from free agency. I know we haven't even gotten through the Super Bowl, and we're doing what Lions do. We look forward to the rest of the future. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Go on Pride. Go Detroit Lions. You guys have a wonderful day.
You can do it!